team? It's your boy D Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are once again with the Band Family. 9 things we didn't know about Australia until we moved here. Now, before we dive in, y'all know I'm gonna need y'all to smash that subscribe button, smash the notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested, and we're gonna jump into it.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the Band Family.
So this week we're going to tell you about 9 things that we didn't know about Australia before we moved here.
Ta-da-da!
Wow, that bird is gorgeous with a capital G, gorgeous.
So the first thing we didn't ever realise was about the time zones. So that means time zones in Australia. We thought it was just one time in the whole country. But since we moved here, we found out each state have their own time zones. Here in Queensland, they don't have daylight savings, so all year it's just the same time, nothing gets changed, which is lovely.
But, for example, if we wanted to call someone in Perth or Melbourne, we would have to double check the time in that state because it could be different. And obviously if we say, oh, I'm going to call you at 4 o'clock for a meeting, then we need to make sure that we're both talking about the same 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
It was just something I hadn't thought about. I mean, obviously it's a massive continent, but because it's one country, you don't really think. Number 2.
Facts. That's facts. I live 10 or 11 hours away from my girlfriend, so it's very long distance. And her time zone is like an hour ahead of mine. And so in the beginning, when we were talking about a certain time, like, we had to be specific and say, like, let's talk at 4 o'clock your time or 4 o'clock my time, which would be 5 o'clock her time. And if we said 4 o'clock her time, that's 3 o'clock my time. And so, yeah, getting those time zones together, figuring out. But I thought that's very interesting how you just at a certain point, because I've driven out there multiple times, but I've always tried to like get to the certain point where it's like, where exactly does my clock change? Like, what certain point does my clock change in the time zone change? And it's like 45 minutes to an hour away from like actually being to where she's at. But y'all didn't ask for that story. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Is that you must drive at the speed limit. So coming from Europe, not everybody pays attention to that, and it's very rare that people stay driving at the speed limit.
Nope.
Whereas here, the cops are on you. If you go even say 5 kilometres over, you'll hear about it in the post.
Hey.
Yes. Wherever they can catch you, they will get you.
Yeah, it's a really big thing, and I know that a lot of people who come from abroad get caught out by this because we're not used to the rigidness of it. Rigidity.
Yeah, so definitely check, like, make sure you're sort of staying within the speed limits, because over here the police don't have to have warning signs. They don't have to do that yet. Or if they do, they don't.
Yeah. No, I don't think they actually have to warn you. So, yeah, anyway, it's just something to be aware of. Number 3.
Yeah, I think here in America, the speed limit is, to a lot of people, is just a suggestion. The speed limit is a suggestion. To me, I never drive unless I'm forced to drive the speed limit, like, to where both lanes are just going the speed limit and I can't get past it. That's the only time I drive the speed limit. Other than that, I'm out of there. I'm 15 to 20 miles over the speed limit most of the time. If I'm on an interstate. If I'm in the city, probably like 5 to 10 miles over the speed limit.
Is that in moving to an English-speaking language, we really didn't realise how much of a language difference there would be. So there's sometimes when we're talking to someone and they'll just give us a look and we have no idea why, and then we find out, you know, months down the line that we've said something peculiar. But it's happened a lot, and there's some things that are just completely different. So even little things like the petrol station being called a servo, it's just something you have to get used to, that it's now a servo.
Yeah.
Definitely get used to hearing the word esky as well.
Yeah, we do need to do a whole new video on this, so that is coming.
I guess it is.
There's a lot.
It said, I guess it is now. But yeah, of course, I mean, because you come from an English-speaking country going to another English-speaking country, so you're like, it should be easy to adjust. So there shouldn't really be a language barrier until you go to that English-speaking country and they speak. Their slang is completely different. So some of the words that you say has a completely different meaning there, and that's big with Australia, I've learned.
Okay, so one of the other things that surprised us were that liquor licensing laws are very different in Australia. They actually vary from state to state. So what is the law in Queensland is not the law in, say, Victoria. And one of the things that we found strangest was that on Good Friday here in Queensland, the sale of alcohol is prohibited unless you're buying it in a restaurant with a meal.
Oh wow.
It's just something we've not come across before, and it really threw us.
Yeah, and if anyone's travelling through to central Australia, there's certain towns where you can't have alcohol on you at all.
Yeah, in
Not
certain
even in
communities.
Yeah, I don't think you can even have it in the boot of your car or anything.
No, you can't. So it's something to be aware of. It's something that we've not heard of before.
Yeah.
Be aware of where you're going through, where you're travelling, as to
definitely.
what the law is.
So the next one is Australian history. Coming from the UK, we didn't really know much about Australian history, but there is actually a lot more than what people think.
Yeah, we kind of have to be careful what we say on this, because it's actually really a sensitive issue. But there are certain things, like when you go to a sporting event or even a school assembly, they will pay respect to the owners of the land before these kind of events. I feel like we need to get permission from an elder to be able to discuss this and to get our facts correct, because it is such a sensitive issue.
Yeah, it is actually very interesting.
Very interesting, but also you've got to be very careful what you say and do with regards to Aboriginal history.
Another thing we didn't realise until we moved.
I feel like that is very interesting. And you definitely, I guess, like she said, you don't want to misspeak. So you don't go into detail, and you want to make sure you get all the facts right. So they kind of skipped over it a bit, but just definitely got to be careful with what you say. That's very interesting.
Here was the rounding up of money. So here they don't really have very small change.
5 cents is the lowest denomination of money.
Yeah, so sometimes you feel like you're being shortchanged, but you're not really. It's sort of just the dumb way.
It caught us off guard when we first came over, and we went into a shop. The item was like $4.99 or something like that. So we paid our $5 and we didn't get change, which we couldn't understand why. Although it wasn't much, we just didn't really understand what was going on.
Yeah.
But that's because it's all rounded up and down to the nearest 5 cents. So sometimes you'll pay more, sometimes you'll pay less.
So the next one
if it's $4.99, I'll pay you $5. I don't even want that penny back. Don't even give me a penny back. Keep the $5.
we have on our list is school year terms. These run from January to December, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and it's actually super handy because obviously it was different for us, but when you think about it, the summer holidays is in December and January, so it makes sense, and it flows nicely to have your school year running from the beginning of the year to the end of the year.
Yeah, I think it's quite nice for the kids because then they get a longer period for Christmas. So it's quite a nice time of year because it's nice and warm.
Yes,
Say
very.
warm, really hot, Yeah,
very
it's a
hot.
great time of the year for the kids. A lot more summer sports to be done as well.
Number 8.
It's just so it's so cool and like interesting, like how like their summer is December, January, like that summer there. Yet here, like the kids just got out of school for summer, like, and it's here towards the end of May. It's just interesting, like, and of course it's obvious, like we're at completely different parts on the maps. You know what I'm saying? But it's cool. It's cool to think that there are other places in the world where it's summer here, but it may be it's winter somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
Is that it does snow in some places in Australia. So
really?
we had no idea that that was the case, because when you see Australia, you think of the sandy beaches, the warm weather, the
Deserts.
sunshine, blue skies, and you don't necessarily think of snow. But it does in some places down south, obviously not here in tropical Queensland,
Anyway,
where we
no worries.
just sweat through the year.
Yeah, we definitely sweat pretty, yeah. But yeah, it's not like traditional snow that you think it's powdery snow. I've been told by my sources that it's a bit of an icy sort of snow. So it's not your traditional snow that you think. It's not like the Alps or anything like that.
Right. So it's something that we've not witnessed in Australia yet, but I'm sure one day we will if we ever dare to go south in the winter.
I don't think we'd go skiing. I don't know. I think if we went skiing, we'd probably go to New Zealand, and you guys would be coming with us for that one.
That would be cool.
Exciting.
Yes, let the flights begin.
Great, already have.
Yeah,
Between
don't we
New
have to
Zealand and
quarantine?
Australia. No, I think there's a bubble. Maybe not at the moment because of the recent outbreaks, but generally there's a travel bubble between Australia and New Zealand.
Alright, let's go to New Zealand then.
Last but not least is the rail system here in Australia. We thought it would be different. So coming from Europe, where everything is super connected and you can go anywhere by train, we thought that would be the same in Australia, but it really isn't. It's just not there yet. So if you wanted to travel across the country to say somewhere like Perth, instead of being able to travel by train, you would probably have to take a flight.
Here in Australia, they more rely on the road trains. We'll put a picture of one up for you. You guys that don't know what a road train is, because you might just think it's a train on the road. I know down south they have trams and stuff like that, but yeah, it's not a great rail system.
Yeah, not between cities and between different areas.
Yeah, definitely not up this way anyway in Queensland.
Please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next week.
Yeah.
We thought we would tell you about 9 things that we didn't realise before we moved to Australia.
No, that was dope, bro. I feel like I get to learn more and more about Australia each and every day, and I always find that cool. And I've learned a lot about different countries like the UK, Germany, Australia, Norway, Finland, Sweden. Just a lot of cool different places just from doing reaction videos, and I always think it's awesome just to learn about these different places, because growing up, I didn't know anything about anywhere that wasn't outside the United States. But that's all we got. You guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. It's your boy Neal, out.